Our word is good as gold. That's the motto of the Golden Company, a band of sellswords feared across Essos, with a reputation unlike any other. But the Golden Company are not just mercenaries. They are not simply soldiers who fight for coin. Behind their golden banners lies a story of exile, of broken crowns, and of a dream passed down through generations. In today's video, we'll explore the origins and purpose of the Golden Company. Where did they come from? Why were they founded? And what role do they still play in the wars to come? Because to truly understand them, we need to go back, not to Essos, where they made their name, but to Westeros, where their story truly begins. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here, we delve deep into the rich lore of the Lord of the Rings, a song of ice and fire, and the vast worlds beyond. Welcome. The roots of the Golden Company stretch back to one of the bloodiest family conflicts in Westerosi history, the Blackfyre rebellions. It begins with King Aegon IV, remembered as Aegon the Unworthy, a king notorious for his excesses, his cruelty, and his many bastards. Among those bastards was Daemon Waters, a warrior of remarkable charm and charisma. On his deathbed, Aegon legitimized Daemon and gave him the sword Blackfyre, the ancestral blade of House Targaryen. Daemon took both the sword and the name. He became Daemon Blackfyre, and with Blackfyre in hand, he claimed that he, not the king's true-born son Daeron, was the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. This claim tore Westeros apart. The Blackfyre rebellions raged for generations. Brother against brother, cousin against cousin, dragon blood against dragon blood. One man stood at the heart of these wars, Aegon Rivers, better known as Bittersteel. Half-brother to both Daemon Blackfyre and King Daeron, Bittersteel was a fierce warrior and utterly devoted to Daemon's cause. But in the end, the Blackfyres lost, again and again. Their dream of a Blackfyre dynasty was crushed on the battlefield. Those who fought for them faced exile, disgrace, or death. Yet Bittersteel refused to surrender. He would not let the dream die. Instead, he gathered the broken remnants of the Blackfyre cause and led them across the narrow sea. And it was there, in exile, that the Golden Company was born. In the free cities of Essos, exiled Westerosi often became mercenaries. Some drifted into sellsword companies for coin. Others lived out their days in quiet bitterness. But Bittersteel had a vision. He didn't want his followers to scatter and fade. He wanted them united, loyal, ready for the day they could return home and fight again. So he founded the Golden Company. Unlike other sellsword bands, this company wasn't built on greed or opportunity. It was built on memory, on loyalty, on the shared cause of men who had lost their homes. Their banners bore the image of a golden skull on a black field, a grim reminder of death, of loyalty unto the grave, and of the dream that bound them together. And their words became legendary. Our word is good as gold. This wasn't just a boast. In a world where sellsword companies were known for breaking contracts, betraying employers, or turning cloak when the coin ran dry, the Golden Company stood apart. They would not break their word. They would not betray a contract. Why? Because they weren't just fighting for gold. They were fighting for something greater. Every coin earned, every battle fought, was just another step on the long road back to Westeros. For generations, the Golden Company would serve as both a brotherhood in exile and a weapon, waiting for the moment to strike. From their very beginnings, the Golden Company earned a reputation unlike any other sellsword band in Essos. Most mercenary companies, the Stormcrows, the Second Sons, the Brave Companions, were infamous for their treachery. They fought hard when the coin was flowing, but their loyalty lasted only as long as the gold did. The Golden Company was different. They became famous not just for their discipline on the battlefield, but for their unshakable loyalty to their word. When the Golden Company signed a contract, they honoured it, always. This reliability made them both respected and feared. Princes, merchants, and city-states alike came to rely on them, knowing the Golden Company would fight to the bitter end. But behind that reputation was something deeper. Most sellswords fought only for survival or profit. The men of the Golden Company fought with the unity of exiles, who dreamed of a home they had lost. Their shared cause gave them something stronger than gold ever could, purpose, and so Year after year, decade after decade, the Golden Company grew. They became the largest, most feared, and most reliable sellsword company in the world. 10,000 strong, iron-disciplined and bound not just by contract, but by a dream that would never die. For all their contracts, all their campaigns across Essos, the Golden Company was never truly about coin. Their purpose was always political, always tied to the dream of a return to Westeros. Every victory on foreign soil, every piece of treasure earned, every soldier added to their ranks, it all pointed back to one goal: restoring the Blackfyre line to the Iron Throne. This is what set them apart from every other mercenary band. To outsiders they looked like sellswords, but inside their ranks they were brothers in exile, heirs to a lost cause. Their contracts in Essos were just a means to an end. Fighting for merchant princes, city-states or noble houses gave them the coin, the weapons, and the discipline they would need. When the day finally came to cross the narrow sea, the Golden Company was never meant to remain in Essos forever. They were always waiting, watching, preparing for the moment when Westeros would be weak enough, divided enough, to welcome them back. And in the story of A Song of Ice and Fire, that moment seems closer than ever. Centuries passed, and the Blackfyre line seemed to vanish into history. Yet the Golden Company endured, bound by oaths older than memory. And in the main story, we finally see them return to the centre of events, through a boy calling himself Young Griff and the men who guide him. We first meet Young Griff through Tyrion Lannister during his travels across Essos. On the riverboat Shy Maid, Tyrion quickly realises this boy is no ordinary child. He is well educated, fluent in several tongues, trained in arms and strategy. He is being raised not as a sellsword, but as a prince. And Tyrion, ever the cynic, soon uncovers the truth. Young Griff is presented as Aegon Targaryen, the infant son of Rhaegar who is thought to have been killed during Robert's rebellion. If true, he is not only alive, he is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Guiding him is Jon Connington, once Hand of the King under Aerys, once Rhaegar's closest friend. Shamed, exiled, and thought dead, Connington has devoted his life to this boy. For him, Aegon is a second chance, a chance to restore both House Targaryen and his own honour. And then there is Tyrion's role. With his sharp wit, Tyrion plants a seed in Aegon's mind. Why wait for Daenerys? Westeros is weak now. Strike first. Seize the Iron Throne before another dragon ever sets foot on its shores. This is the turning point. For centuries, the Golden Company had been fighting in foreign wars, waiting for their chance. And now, under Jon Connington and Young Griff, they finally have a prince to follow, a banner to rally behind, and a real plan to cross the narrow sea. For the first time since Bittersteel's exile, the Golden Company is marching not as sellswords for hire, but as conquerors returning home. But of course, the story of Young Griff is not so simple. Behind him stand two of the most mysterious figures in the series, Varys the Spider and Illyrio Mopatis, the wealthy magister of Pentos. For years, Varys whispered in the halls of King's Landing, serving first Aerys, then Robert, then the Lannisters, always the loyal servant, or so he appeared. But Varys' loyalty was never to a king, it was to a plan that spanned decades, hidden in the shadows. That plan was Young Griff. Illyrio provided the coin, the ships, the safe houses. Varys provided the secrets, the influence, the slow destabilization of Westeros. Every rebellion, every war, every fracture in the realm, all of it paved the way for the return of their chosen king. But who is Young Griff, really? The official story is that he is Aegon Targaryen, Rhaegar's son, miraculously saved during the sack of King's Landing, swapped with another infant, spirited away across the sea and raised in secret. It's a story full of holes, but also full of possibility. Some believe he truly is Rhaegar's son, groomed to restore the Targaryen line. Others think he's no Targaryen at all, but a pretender, a boy groomed to believe he is a dragon. And then there's a darker theory, one that connects back to the Golden Company itself. Illyrio once had a wife, Serra. She's long dead by the time of the story, but Illyrio speaks of her with great love and sorrow. Some fans believe Serra was no ordinary woman, that she may have been descended from the Blackfyres. If that is true, And if young Griff is in fact the child of Illyrio and Ysera, then the boy's not a Targaryen at all, he is a Blackfyre. And if so, the Golden Company, the heirs of Bittersteel's dream, are not betraying their purpose by following him. They are fulfilling it. It's a chilling possibility, because if this theory is true, then the exiles who once swore never to forget their cause may at last be returning home, not with a dragon prince, but with a Blackfyre king in disguise. The Golden Company is more than just an army of sellswords. They are living history, a reminder that in Westeros the past never truly dies. The Blackfyre rebellions ended long ago, yet their shadow still lingers. Through the Golden Company, those old wounds still bleed, and those old dreams still burn. They embody exile, the pain of men torn from their homeland, clinging to memory and identity. They embody loyalty, oaths sworn to brothers, to lost kings, to causes older than themselves, and they embody the cost of rebellion. Generations of war, death, and exile, all for a crown that forever slips from their grasp. And in the present story, their return sets up a fascinating mirror. On one side, Daenerys Targaryen, the exiled queen returning with fire and blood to reclaim her birthright. On the other, young Griff, the boy raised in exile, groomed to be king, backed by the most disciplined army in the world. Both promise a new future for Westeros. Yet both are also bound by the ghosts of the past. And perhaps that is the true tragedy of the Golden Company. For all their discipline, for all their honour, they may simply be instruments of history repeating itself, fighting wars for dynasties that should have ended long ago. From Bittersteel's dream in exile, to centuries of battles across Essos, to the boy they now call Aegon, the Golden Company's story is one of loyalty, memory, and the refusal to let the past go. They began as outcasts sworn to a lost cause. They became the most feared and respected sellsword company in the world, and now, after generations of waiting, they are finally crossing the narrow sea, not as mercenaries for hire, but as would-be conquerors of Westeros. But what will become of them? Are they truly returning to restore the rightful heir to the Iron Throne? Or are they marching under false banners, serving a Blackfyre in disguise, a ghost of rebellions long past? The Golden Company has waited centuries for this moment. The question is, will they finally claim the home they were promised? Or will their dream, like the Blackfyres before them, end in fire and blood? If you are interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.